In this video, we are in Seattle, Washington to check out a famous cocktail bar called the Zig Zag Café. Please join us as we try out the food, including a burger dubbed by some the best in Seattle, and sample some of their famous drinks to see if this spot lives up to its vaunted reputation and is worth you giving a visit. Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. In this video, we are in Seattle, Washington to check out the famous Zig Zag Café. Now, we've been wanting to visit this cocktail bar for years now. This bar is one of the OG bars of the craft cocktail movement and was one of a small group of bars integral in bringing us out of the cocktail dark ages and reviving many classic drinks. So of course, we are really excited to give this place a try. Now, for a little background on the Zig Zag Café, it's hidden beneath Seattle's Pike Place Market. It opened in 1999 as a casual pizza and wine spot in the historic Fix Medor building. It was shortly after this that the original owners hired bar managers Ben Doherty and Casey Fitch to helm the bar program. They did this very successfully, and by 2002, bar managers Ben Doherty and Casey Fitch had bought the place, renovated it, and were revamping the decor and menu. They also hired bartender Murray Stenson, who transformed it into a hub of serious cocktail culture. Meanwhile, Seattle cocktail historian Robert Hess, founder of drinkboy.com and co-founder of the Museum of the American Cocktail, became a frequent visitor. I have a special fondness for Robert Hess since his videos on the Small Screen Network introduced me to many classic cocktails, including The Last Word, as well as helping me to develop my home bartending skills. Now, Robert Hess in either 2000 or 2002, in my research, I saw both dates, created a cocktail called the Trident. It was an aquavit-based riff on the Negroni, blending Shinar, dry sherry, and peach bitters. It quickly became a Zig Zag staple, so popular the bar used more Shinar than any other in Washington. Another even more well-known cocktail associated with this bar is The Last Word. In 2004, Murray Stenson resurrected the Prohibition-era cocktail and brought The Last Word back from obscurity, making it so famous that it spread to bars across the country. By 2010, GQ named Zig Zag America's best cocktail bar, and Stenson was hailed as a bartender superhero. Stenson left in 2011, and Doherty became sole owner in 2012. So with such a storied history, you can understand why we just had to visit this bar. However, with 26 years in business, is Zig Zag still one of the best bars in Seattle, or is it a shell of its former self? Well, let's go and find out. Meanwhile, let's see what people are saying online. So on Yelp, they have a 4.3 out of 1,190 reviews, and on Google a 4.6 out of 1,170, so pretty good reviews. Some of the positives mentioned are the food, the cocktails, and great service. Specifically, they mention the bartenders and praise their skills and knowledge. Several reviewers also specifically mentioned the burger as being the best in Seattle. One reviewer did describe the Zig Zag Café as being for tourists, not locals. However, he still gave them 3 stars. We will definitely address the accuracy of that at the end of this video. Then for the negative, most of them have the same complaint, and that's this mandatory 21% service charge. Several reviewers point out it may go to the owner rather than the server, and one reviewer brings up a good point. Will you have to tip on top of this 21%? If so, that could make this a very pricey cocktail bar. Well, let's head on in and check out this place for ourselves, and then address some of those reviews at the end of this video before I give my final thoughts. So taking a look at the menu here, first I noticed they had a happy hour from 5 to 6, which is really nice. Then also one thing I really like that makes it really easy to navigate this menu is the fact that the drinks are separated into categories based on spirit. You have gin at the top, then you move on to vodka, then rum, then mezcal and tequila based cocktails, and then at the bottom you have your brandy based cocktails and cognac based cocktails. Then finally on the next page you have all your whiskey based drinks, your bourbons, your rye, and your scotch based drinks, and that leads us to about 20 drinks total, which is perfect for a craft cocktail menu. storm in a teacup for my first drink. The Lard's apple brandy brought a warm, orchard-rich base, lifted by the spice depth of allspice and the fruity tartness of sloe gin. Orange juice then added a bright zing, while the egg white gave it a silky texture and mouthfeel. And that nutmeg is the perfect aromatic finish. I loved this drink. Definitely a home run. Now my wife got a mezcal cocktail called the Una Mas. You have the smokiness of that mezcal, which pairs well with the bright grapefruit, then the subtle cinnamon warmth, and that earthy damiana, while the mole bitters add depth. This was a crisp, complex, and easy to drink cocktail that was also balanced and refreshing. We both really enjoyed it. For our second round, I ordered the Round Midnight. This cocktail is beautifully balanced. You get the rich apple warmth of Calvados shining through, Burr adds a subtle herbal sweetness, while Vecchio del Capo Amaro brings a lovely bitter complexity. The falernum rounds it out with a hint of tropical spice, making each sip intriguingly layered and dangerously smooth. I would definitely order this again. Now my wife got the Banana Evangelist, which is a tasty and fun drink. That rich bourbon warmth blended beautifully with a creamy banana liqueur, while the smoky, funky depth of Smith & Cross and Brocato Woodlands added complexity and intrigue. Overall, while strong and spirit forward, it was still balanced and delicious. Well, it looks like our food is here, and for an appetizer we got the baked oysters, and they were delicious, so buttery and good. The burger was outstanding, juicy, flavorful grass-fed beef paired with smoky bacon, rich, creamy, and slightly tangy Port Salut cheese, and a sweet, savory red jam that tied everything together. The garlic aioli added a smooth garlicky kick, all nestled in a soft, buttery brioche bun, just incredibly well crafted. Then the side salad that was a vegan Caesar salad was also really good. I couldn't believe it was vegan. It even had these roasted nuts on top that tasted just like bacon bits. I would order it again. For our last round, I got the backhanded compliment. The Toki whiskey provided a clean, elegant base, while Grand Classico introduced a firm herbal bitterness. The sweet vermouth rounded it out with subtle richness, and lemon bitters added a nice citrus lift. This is a beautifully balanced and complex drink, and one I really enjoyed from the first sip to the last. Now my wife got the Shapeshifter. That Añejo tequila provided a robust, woody foundation, while the Olorosa sherry contributed depth and subtle nuttiness. Then the sweet vermouth added structure and body, and finally the apricot delivered a restrained stone fruit note that really lingered on the finish. For me, this was a complex and balanced sipper, and we really enjoyed it. Well, it looks like we're all done, so let's head out, and while we do that, we'll take a look at the positives, neutrals, and negatives of this bar. So first for the positives, the food, the drinks, the service, the atmosphere, all excellent. I'll go into more detail on that in my final thoughts. Then for the neutrals, first off, we have the location. Now, I actually love the location of the Zig Zag Café. It's tucked away just off the Pike Street hill climb, which gives it a hidden gem feel. But since it's right by Pike Place Market, some might find the area a bit too touristy. That's why I listed it as a neutral. Second, on a more technical note, while they did use the big clear ice cubes for the stirred drink, the tall drink I ordered wasn't made with either ice beers or at least the cold draft ice, which has become really an industry standard. But they used regular bar ice instead. So for a bar with this kind of reputation, that stood out. And then finally, a third, on several of our visits, the glasses just weren't chilled. It's a small detail, but it really does affect the overall cocktail experience. And if it had been every visit, I would have listed this as a negative, but it was only on a few of them, so I listed it as neutral. Then finally, for negatives, we have that service charge. And mentioning that service charge, let's take a look at the reviews and see if they are true. So the one review said for tourists, not locals. And that's just not true. My experience there, over 5 visits, I saw a mix of both. In fact, I would say I saw slightly more locals than I did tourists. So I just don't agree with that. But how about the reviews about the service charge? Well, to address those reviews, they do appear to be true. For full transparency, we visited Zig Zag before they implemented this charge. However, when I went online, there it was. Now, this really made me pause. I'm not against automatic gratuities at all personally, especially when they're clearly marked and go to the staff. However, I do understand that many people are, so it's already a bit controversial. However, what does bother me a lot is the vague service charge that just might be going to the owner. We don't know. That's a problem. This review here sums it up very well. It mentions how there's no clear explanation, and it leaves you wondering if you're still supposed to tip on top of it. I would never want to shortchange my server or bartender. However, if you tip more on top of this, then your meal and drinks end up costing way more than the menu suggests. I get that restaurants in Seattle and all over the country are dealing with rising wages and higher costs, but this just doesn't feel transparent to me. It would be way better if they just raise their prices or clearly labeled a tip that actually supports the team serving you. So this definitely puts a damper on my thoughts of Zig Zag Café, which leads to my final thoughts. So let me start by sharing how I feel about Zig Zag Café as if that 21% mandatory service charge didn't exist, because at the time of our visit, it hadn't been added yet. We loved Zig Zag Café. First, what we really liked was its history. This isn't just another good bar, it's a place that played a huge role in helping pull the US out of the cocktail dark ages. Back when craft cocktails were barely a thing, Zig Zag was already doing it right. The Zig Zag Café, along with a small group of other bars such as the Rainbow Room, Angel Share, Absinthe, and Milk and Honey, to name a few, helped set the standard and pave the way for the cocktail renaissance we're enjoying today. That legacy is still alive and well here. And the fact that the bar is still going strong after all these years, that alone is a testament to the consistency of its quality both in the kitchen and behind the bar. Speaking of the kitchen, the food, incredible. I've got to give a special shout out to the burger. Easily one of the best I've had in the city. It's flavorful, juicy, and all the toppings really go together well. Everything I tried was solid, but that burger stole the show. Now for the cocktails. Truly excellent, balanced, creative, and made with care. Whether you're sipping something classic or trying a house original, you're in expert hands here. The service was also top-notch. The bartenders in particular were true professionals, attentive, skilled, and genuinely welcoming. You got the sense that they care deeply about the craft and about making you feel at home and happy at the bar. The atmosphere was also intimate. It had a lot of character, a little hidden, a little old school, but in the best way. It's refined without ever feeling stiff or pretentious. If I was a local in Seattle, I'd 100% be a regular at this bar. It's got that perfect mix of comfort, character, and quality that I like in a bar. Also, while it's located in Pike Place Market, its hidden location and the fact it's below the main area still makes it feel less touristy and makes it possible to dodge the crowds. That being said, now that they added that 21% service charge, to be honest, while it would still be on my list, I probably wouldn't come near as often. It would all depend on if I was able to get clarity on where that service charge actually goes. So that's the asterisk to that review. Now, if you're a tourist, I would say even with that 21% charge, Zig Zag is a must visit. I would just keep in mind the charge and maybe temper the amount of drinks and food accordingly so as to fit in your budget. I think the convenience of being located in Pike Place Market makes it difficult to pass up, since that's a spot you will most likely visit at least once. Also, it feels like you have found a hidden gem, and it's a nice escape from the crowds. Despite that one negative, Zig Zag Café is a piece of cocktail history. It's a neighborhood staple and an absolute gem of the Seattle cocktail scene. So in our opinion, it's still a must visit. Well, those are our final thoughts on the Zig Zag Café. We hope you enjoyed this video. Please let us know what you think, or if you have any questions or thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, please click like and subscribe and that bell icon so you get notified of any new videos. And most importantly, always drink responsibly. Thank you for watching, and please join us again on Boozy Explorers.